everyone, welcome back to my channel, Bow and Arrow Tarot. Today we're going to get right into the Virgo January love reading. All right, guys, let's get right into it. You can check out your other 2020 outlooks in the description. Now, this is a general reading for Virgo in the area of love for the month of January. And so this video could be for single Virgo, could be for one who's involved with someone or coming into a relationship, coming out of a relationship, whatever the case may be. We're going to take a look at it. If there are other issues surrounding your love life in this particular outlook, then we'll see those as well. So in any case, just take what applies to you, and if it doesn't apply, let it fly, my lovely Virgos, all right? Virgo is one of the most ancient constellations, so although we talk about Pisces being the sort of last of the signs, the Virgo is definitely a very, very auspicious sign. So let's take a look at your outlook, all right? Let's see what's going on for Virgo in January in the area of love. All right, straight out we have Nine of Pentacles. Very nice. Covered by the Four of Pentacles. Conscious area, you have Lovers. And then in your unconscious position, you have the Page of Wands. You come into the month with the Ten of Pentacles and you round it off with the Emperor. The energy that you're bringing into the month and the energy that meets you. King of Swords. This position came out, and the Eight of Swords. King of Swords came out in that position also for Taurus. Bottom of the deck, we have Justice. Justice has been showing up a lot in the readings. All right, so let's get right into it. Nine of Pentacles. I'm going to get back to the Justice card. Nine of Pentacles covered by the Four of Pentacles. Well, my lovely Virgos, Nine of Pentacles talks about really right now, this month is all about you taking care of yourself, right? And physically, right? In the material world, increasing your abundance. The Nine of Pentacles is someone who's very, very ambitious and who really works in a singular way towards their goals when it comes to their career or their business. You know, Nine of Pentacles is someone who has mastered their craft or they're a master in their field. This is indicated by the falcon on her hand, right? And also indicates that rewards are now coming in as a result of all of the hard work that you've put in. But oftentimes, the one thing that does happen with Nine of Pentacles is that an individual is resonating with this energy oftentimes can be very alienated from deeper relationships because of their single-minded attitude towards their career. You know, when you have an important career, excuse me, beginning to lose my voice again. When you have a career that you love, right, that you feel very ambitious about, you know, achieving everything in that career really requires a lot of energy. And sometimes it can involve like all of the energy that you normally would put into a relationship because you're extremely ambitious, right? So this is the type of person the Nine of Pentacles is, you know, very independent. And with all the 9 cards, there is a little bit of the hermit essence there. And so it is very much a solitary path that you're on, but you don't feel lonely. The Nine of Pentacles generally doesn't feel lonely. They have, however, oftentimes people with this energy have conscientiously made the sacrifice of deeper relationships, right? Of some other relationships with friends, family, lovers, etc. because they are working so hard on their career. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? You are covered with a Four of Pentacles, and there's a feeling right now, this January, a feeling of all of your hard work being threatened to a certain degree. And interestingly enough, for this to come out as a love reading, I'm wondering if for you, Virgo, if the prospect of a relationship or a deeper love connection somehow makes you feel as though your stability, your financial stability may be threatened or may be in jeopardy, right? As a result of it, right? I think this is definitely a Virgo that resonates with this kind of energy in the sense that your life, your career, right? Your career goals, your business goals are so important to you, and everything that you've worked for, you've put so much energy into it. I think that certainly if you're resonating with this, the thought of opening up some of your life to a deeper connection right away makes you feel as though what you've achieved could possibly be in jeopardy, right? And that's something you're just simply not willing to do. Right, a Nine of Pentacles individual is not willing to sacrifice or to put their own sort of achievements in jeopardy for the sake of a love connection. And there is a feeling of that. Four of Pentacles is absolutely associated sometimes with greed, miserliness. But of course, greed and miserliness are energies that come from fear, and the fear of losing what you've already achieved, right? And so this is something that's really covering your love reading this month, right? The fear of losing what you've achieved in your life and your career for the sake of possibly opening up to a relationship. Now, Lovers energy and Page of Wands. Lovers is in your conscious, Page of Wands is in your unconscious position. So, you know, you are ready for a relationship, I think. You are beginning to think about opening up a part of your life to a deeper connection, right? Because the Lovers card is associated with Gemini, by the way, but it's also this understanding that in order to be in a true love connection, you have to be willing to give of yourself. You have to be willing to work through problems, right? And to understand that, you know, the two halves, they may be equal halves, but they are separate and they are different. And it's the coming together of two halves that make a union, right? But the way they fit together, they have to make room for each other, you know? It's like puzzle pieces, you know? When you put two puzzle pieces together, one portion of one puzzle piece fits into a cavity or an opening of the other puzzle piece, right? And so this is how we build a picture. So with lovers, we understand that a true soulmate connection or a deep, twin flame journey connection is one where you understand that your partner fills things in you, fulfills things in you that you don't have, and you fulfill things in them that maybe they don't have. And in this way, you make each other whole together. But that takes work. That takes a lot of work. And I think you are absolutely ready. This is definitely a reading for a Virgo who's been probably single for a very long time because they've been very ambitious, very successful in their field, but now you're ready to open up your heart. In the back of your mind, you have a Page of Wands. This is your unconscious position. And the Page of Wands really talks about overcoming fear. Virgo, some of you have definitely had some fear in terms of maybe expressing yourself creatively, maybe going after other passions in your life, right? Because wands are all about passion, right? Following your sort of fire, where it takes you. And although for a long time your fire has indeed been your career, I think you have at previously, because now you're overcoming it with this page, but previously, certainly you may have felt that, that passion and love maybe scared you a little bit. Maybe you were a little bit frightened that, if you began to open that door, if you began to open that door to follow other areas in your life that you feel passionate about, like a love connection, or like being more creative. Because the Nine of Pentacles is a creative individual, but certainly more to do with sort of the material world in the sense of your career, your business, plugging away, right? Here we talk about following your ideals and your passions in a creative way. It may not always pay off financially, may not always be a stable road, but it is a road of sort of following your heart in a lot of ways, right? And so I think that you're overcoming that fear. Perhaps up until now, you just didn't have room for it. You didn't have room to indulge the possibility of a relationship in your life. You may not have had room to sort of take time off for the things that you really enjoy doing, like, creatively. If you have a certain kind of job that you really love, even if you're a businessman or a businesswoman, you're a high-powered lawyer or an accountant or something like that, right? You're in a field, you're in a particular field, and you've mastered that field. That's taken so much work, and oftentimes you don't have time to perhaps travel or get into sort of art or creative outlets, right? That in the back of your mind you've been wanting to do, but now this January you've overcome sort of that fear. I think certainly for a lot of you Virgos, you've reached a certain level of success that you realize that you feel like, okay, now I've reached this level, now I can begin to sort of look at other areas, but yet you worry about it coming back and destabilizing you a little bit, right? With this Four of Pentacles. Nevertheless, Virgo, this is a very nice reading. I'm going to say for a lot of you, you're coming out of your shell, right? You're coming out of that one sort of narrow objective path that you've been on, right? And so you come into this period with 10 of Pentacles, a lot of wealth, right? And completion in this area. This can also be another reason why you are now willing to perhaps open up your life to love, open your life up to more creative expression, because you've reached a certain level of abundance and achievement with this 10 of Pentacles, right? And wealth, by the way, 10 of Pentacles also indicates wealth in all areas. This, although it is a Pentacles card, it is the completion of understanding what wealth and abundance is all about. And so, of course, we also see family ties and connections, right? Children, having the kind of success and an abundance that allows you to sort of have a family line. You see a family crescent in the back, right? So we're talking, sorry about the noise in the background. Somebody's honking outside my building. And so we're talking about wealth on all levels, including the wealth of good family relations, right? The blessing of having a family home with love and care, and also the blessing of having the level of abundance that supports that. 10 of Pentacles can indicate a desire to extend your family when it comes to getting married, or perhaps having children, or inviting other people into the family, right? To increase sort of the line, right? Or increase how much love there is, right? And of course that requires a certain amount of money, but you're coming into this period with a really nice, strong financial stability, right? A little bit of fear here, but don't worry about that. This is covering your energy this month, but it's only a little bit. I don't feel that it's very strong, because in the back of your mind, in your unconscious position, you are absolutely ready now to really face all your fears in that area, because the Page of Wands is a strong card for overcoming this kind of fear. You round the month off with Emperor energy. And this is quite interesting also, because more stability, right? We have another 4 major arcana, and the Emperor is all about order, bringing order to a situation, bringing authority, bringing stability to a situation, planning ahead, forging new territory in your life in a very stable and planned way, right? In a very dominant way as well. And so you dominate, you know. This could also be, for some of you, this could also indicate a possible love connection with someone in your life who represents Emperor energy to you. All right. And it makes sense to me, because being such an ambitious person, and do remember, my readings are not gender specific or sexual orientation specific. We're just talking about energies. So this could be a female or male. It really doesn't matter. But it feels to me that any Virgo who is this ambitious and this hardworking and this sort of skilled and having mastered their craft to a degree that they have a lot of abundance here that they've created in their lives, you would need to have someone like an Emperor that you would want to fall in love with, right? And so this feels to me like, for some of you Virgos, there is a chance in January for you to come up, or for you to either meet someone, or for someone to come into your life who is very stable, very stable, very authoritative, certainly someone who has success, right? They certainly have success under their belt. They may even be someone very high powered, like the owner of a business, or the high up CEO in a company, or, you know, even if it's not a company, just someone who's very in control of their lives, right? In a very successful way, right? And so this is necessarily the type of person that would interest you. And it feels strongly to me, Virgo, some of you, this is a possible love connection, but yet there is no sign of it yet in terms of real affection, because I think this month is a month for you, Virgo, where you're just opening up the possibility, right? You're just opening up your mind and heart to the possibility of a love connection. And so this is going, for some of you, this may be someone who becomes a love connection later on, right? It's not like boom, right away, you meet them, you fall in love. But there is someone, Virgo, some of you have someone in your life who resonates with this Emperor energy, who is catching your eye, right? Who is sort of the right person, the perfect type of person with the perfect type of disposition that would catch the eye of a Virgo like you, who is so ambitious. And of course, you are opening up to the possibilities of love right now. You're starting to want love in your life. Remember, the Nine of Pentacles at some point does seek love, right? Because here you have the Ten of Pentacles, you know, and the difference, this is what I'm saying. Let me show you. The difference between a 9 and a 10 is a love connection. Here we see the person alone in their garden, having achieved their abundance, their mastery of their craft, right? They're beginning to have a real level of, high level of rewards coming in, yet they're alone in that garden, right? They enjoy that garden alone. The missing ingredient is a love connection. Right? Is the type of connection they can build a family with, right? I mean, what's the point of having all of this abundance unless you have someone to share it with? And so, like I said before, all of the 9 cards have inherent with them, they do have a level of sort of being alone or being solitary, right? And sort of, you know, if you want to resonate up to the 10, certainly when we're talking about the Pentacles and the Cup cards, right? Not the Swords or Wands cards, but the Pentacles and Cup cards. Each of them resonating up to a 10, which is completion, is all about that missing ingredient of a deeper love connection, right? And so for you to have that, it has to be the type of person who fits in with your business, who fits in, who can appreciate, you know what I mean? This is what I'm getting at. Who can absolutely appreciate the type of person you are, Virgo. You know, your desire to conquer new territory in your career, your business, this sort of real ambitious desire that you have. And this high level sort of abundance and influence. Now, your attitude towards love. This is the position. Your attitude towards love this month and what meets you. This is interesting. It could be, this gives me a little bit of insight as to why some of you perhaps have been so single-minded about your career, your profession, because indeed for some of you, your attitude towards love is that you were burned in the past. Right? 5 of Cups is an internal power struggle we have when we are still sort of struggling with the grief and the regret of past relationships that have fallen apart, right? That didn't work out. And I think this is, you know, this is kind of what I was getting at earlier in terms of this Page of Wands, in the sense that for some of you, you've really dived into your career and into this sort of path in your life because, you know, if you fail in your career here and there, we all fail. We all have ups and downs in our career, right? It's not a long-lasting failure, but we all have ups and downs. And this is all part of mastering your craft. You can handle that. But if you fail in love, you know, this is what you're afraid of, because that's the kind of pain that perhaps this Virgo can't really handle so well. You've been through that before. And so this may be one of the reasons why indeed you've kind of closed off that part of yourself in lieu of just following your career blindly, right? And so your attitude towards love right now this month is that you're very pessimistic about it, right? You feel like, this didn't work out in the past. Why should it work out in the future? And you kind of are carrying a little bit of this grief. But you're met with a magician. And I think the magician energy, and I think that this is literally a bit of magic coming into your life. The magician is the highest card for talent. Manifesting your goals through talent and through skill and through your abilities, right? This is what the magician is all about. But in the case of love here, and in terms of an energy that's meeting this kind of energy, it's almost as if you're going to be proven wrong, You know, you're going to be proven wrong. It's like, you know, come hell or high water, someone's going to love you again, and you're going to feel what it's like to be happy in love again, even if you don't believe it yourself, right? And so it's interesting to me that you would have an Emperor energy, because perhaps the last relationship was not with the right caliber person, Virgo. It may not have been with an Emperor type of person, right? And so it didn't work out, because a very special person has to be with somebody who can resonate with this Nine of Pentacles energy, somebody who's that talented, that masterful, that creative, and that ambitious. If in the past these relationships were with people who weren't quite on your level, then it makes perfect sense that it didn't necessarily work out, right? But meeting the right person this month, I feel like it's going to show you something. It's going to show you a side of love and relationships that are possible for you that perhaps you didn't think were possible, right? And it's going to seem like magic. It's going to seem literally like, wow, you know, this is so much easier than it was before, you know? And I think it's going to really shake you up out of this depressive little, because you're not really that depressed, right, Virgo? You have so much goodness and abundance and overcoming your fear, being open to love, that this Five of Cups is just a lingering sort of pessimism, I feel. It's a lingering nag in the back of your mind. Oh, I don't want to go through it again. I'll put it off until later. You know, I'll figure out, yeah, well, you know what I mean? It's one of those, like, I'll put it on the back burner. You know, I'll put getting a lover or dating or opening up to a love connection, I'll put that on the back burner for a little while. I'm just not quite ready. But you're not all that committed to being, you know, alone, right? It's just a leftover heartache. It's a leftover grief. And you just need to be shown that with the right person, you have other possibilities. And that's always there with the two cups there that are upright. Shows you that there's always a possibility for a strong love connection. Now, interestingly enough, how you round off and your hopes and dreams. So your hopes and dreams and your fears are King of Swords. And how you round off this month in love is the Eight of Swords. So King of Swords really talks about being extremely honest. Very, very honest. And very sort of like... the King of Swords is the great rule maker, right? He's the great rule maker. He's also the great disciplinarian. You know, he puts everything in its box where it belongs, right? He's sort of very methodical. The King of Swords is the type of individual who's a lawyer, you know, or an accountant, a judge, you know, even. We do have justice over here. So there is a rebalancing that needs to come into your life. But with this King of Swords, we're talking about being extremely honest. And so this is what you want. I want to say for a lot of you Virgos, the kind of relationship or the kind of connection that you're open to is one that embodies this in a sense that you like things to be ordered. You like to know what you're getting into. You know what I mean? It's like you don't want any surprises. You know, you don't want any surprises. And you want someone that you can count on. You want someone that can be honest more than anything. And yet at the same time, you fear this as well to a certain degree, right? You fear to a certain degree being too constricted perhaps in a relationship or too sort of dictated to, right? So you want a bit of it, but you don't want too much of it, right? You want someone who's very strong, right? And perhaps dominant, but you don't want too much of it. You don't want to be, you know, in a relationship where this energy is out of whack and it's become kind of sort of too severe, right? You round out the month with an Eight of Swords, which is a feeling kind of I don't know what to do, you know? I think to a certain degree, you know, this Eight of Swords is generally a very toxic card, right? It's generally someone who really kind of blames the rest of the world, someone who's very alienated from the rest of the world, right? But I don't feel this for you. I feel just a hint of this. And a hint of Eight of Swords is just feeling a little bit helpless, right? In the extreme, Eight of Swords is a person who plays the victim. But in the absence of its extreme essence, right, a little bit of Eight of Swords energy is just feeling like perhaps all of the decisions aren't yours, right? That you're being forced to make certain kinds of decisions, or you're being forced to live a certain kind of life. Perhaps you're being a little bit forced to sort of be you're alienated from people around you, but you don't necessarily agree that it's your own fault. You're kind of blaming those around you. And I think that that's just a little bit of fear still, right? A little fear of being frozen, of not knowing which way to go. And also realizing, waking up to the fact that part of the reason why you perhaps have not had this love connection has been your restrictive way of looking at it. Again, like I said earlier, this is definitely, I feel like, a Virgo who may have had a few sort of disappointing love connections in the past. But then it stopped there. You just weren't willing to give it another chance. And so you went right ahead along with your career. And so to a certain degree, that's, this idea that I can't find the right person who's going to love me and my career. I can't find I'm never going to be sort of, happy in love, right? And that's kind of a restricted thought process. That's a constricted sort of way of thinking about life. It's not expansive. It doesn't allow for other possibilities. And you round your month off with this Eight of Swords because I think, Virgo, you perhaps begin to see that about yourself. You perhaps begin to see that maybe you have been a victim of your own sort of outdated way of thinking about relationships, or outdated, mode of interacting with people. And I think this is more like a wake-up call than anything, I don't feel you resonating with this toxic energy in the normal sense of the card, how we normally see it represented. But more just to wake up and realizing that, hey, you know what? Maybe I just need to open up my mind. And a lot of that understanding is coming in because you're overcoming fear here with this Page of Wands, right? You've overcome some of the fears of your past, and you are now willing to be more open to creative possibilities, different kinds of possibilities, and going after them. And so the Page of Wands energy that's in the back of your mind, I think, is beginning to make you see your own self and see your own walls that perhaps you've built up, and begin to break them down a little bit. Let's get some clarity, and then I'm going to call this a reading. Lovely Virgos. Get 4 more cards out just to see. Yeah, I do think a lot of you Virgos are certainly going to wake up this month to magic almost coming into your life, right? In your love life, right? It's going to be very, very magical. Very different to what you're used to. Here we have Chariot. The Universe. Nice. There you go. Hermit energy. There you go. Your other major arcana 9. And 3 of Swords. All right. So... bottom of the Thoth deck, we have the Magician, but this Magician is out of control. The Thoth deck has 3 Magicians in it. This is the Magician out of control. He's not in control of his abilities, and that's a fear. And I think that it just really goes back to you being a little bit of a control freak, and not in a bad way, but Virgo, you have to be a bit of a control freak to be this sort of successful. Right? And so it's not so much that you want to control everything in your life, but I think you fear losing control. And this is the Magician out of control, the bottom of the deck, indicating that. Now, the Chariot, yeah, you want to start a new life with love. You're ready to start a new path. It may be a little bit scary, but you are ready. You are ready to begin to lay the foundation for love to come into your life. And certainly Chariot energy talks about that. Chariot is 7 major arcana, and it is your hopes and dreams that you're ready to follow. And you have more hopes and dreams in your life besides just your career. And one of them is having a strong love connection. The Universe and the Page of Wands. Absolutely, you are fearless right now, because I think for a lot of you, you realize you are exactly where you need to be in your life, and now is the time. I think for some of you Virgos, you're definitely going to be feeling like January is a bit of a faded month. Again, it feels like magic is coming into your life. Just a sense of it, just a sense of magical things happening that you didn't think were possible. And again, with the Universe The universe talks about feeling like you are really one with the universe, one with the world. The eye of Horus, which is the eye of fate in a way, is looking down on you, right? And favoring you. So a lot of things are kind of happening in a really positive way this month for you, and it is starting to open up your heart to the idea of a different life, a different kind of life, a different kind of relationship coming into your life. And it does really feel quite magical. It feels like you're about to start an adventure. And of course, part of this is the fact that you have matured so much now, and you've done so much in your life to create that stable financial basis that you're not afraid anymore. Right? Hermit has come out over that 10 of Pentacles. Of course, you have been walking a solitary path for quite some time, and this is what allowed you to, like I said, all the 9 cards have an essence of the Hermit in it. So this hermited sort of path is what has allowed you to have so much abundance in your life, manifest so much abundance in your life. But of course, the irony here is that, the final piece of the puzzle is a love connection, and you wake up to that. Hermit is the card for Virgo. All right. So this is you anyway, However, nevertheless, it's more to do with the fact that, you're realizing that, and you're realizing it's time now for you perhaps to open up your heart to love. You've been walking this hermited path long enough. And if you really want to feel the true wealth, right, this 10 of Pentacles energy that you're coming in with, and of course, this is for a single Virgo. So, of course, you don't have that connection just yet, but you are bringing that energy of coming to completion into the month. It feels very much like the Hermit is coming to the completion or to the end of his journey as well, right? You're coming to the end of your solitary journey that you've been walking for quite some time. And you're ready to now open up to a connection. Now, 3 of Swords is covering the Emperor. Could it be that in the past you were hurt by someone who was dishonest, someone who deceived you to a certain degree, who wasn't, 3 of Swords is sorrow that's caused by someone who doesn't treat you fairly, who's not balanced. They say one thing and do another thing, And so, the Emperor being very balanced, very sort of methodical, very orderly, is exactly the right person to come into your life and to sort of expel this leftover sorrow that you have from previous relationships, the type of person who's going to come in and bring order to a love connection. And I think that's possibly what you need, Virgo. You're not ready for, and you're perhaps the type of Virgo who's resonating with this reading. It's not necessarily that you want this whirlwind romance. You like a relationship that you can count on. A relationship that is fair, This is Saturn and Libra energy. We have Justice here, which is the card for Libra. So there's, you thrive on a relationship, or you certainly desire the kind of relationship with someone which is balanced, with someone that you feel equal, that they're on your level. And I think this Emperor coming into your life this month is going to really sort of shake out all of these cobwebs and leftover sort of sadness, regret, perhaps, or just feeling of pessimism. It's going to shake all of that up for you and really wake you up out of a place in your life where perhaps you've been a little bit too pessimistic and constrictive with your thinking. But now you're opening up to different possibilities, and sometimes it takes the right person to come along just to show you that. All right, guys, this is your reading for January in love, Virgo. I do hope it resonated with you. If it did, please like, subscribe, and share. Check out your other readings, which are linked in the description. Don't forget, if you'd like to get a private reading, you can go to the links at the top of your screen. But for right now, Virgo, please have a wonderful January. And don't forget to check me out in the middle of the month for the mid-month love check-in. Bye-bye now.